G'day, Flosstube. It is May 10th, and this is Anna, aka Moranalis, back for another stitchy update. Excuse me. Thank you to anybody who's coming back to visit again. Welcome to anybody who's new. I hope you, my glasses have a lot of shade on them today. They're the color change ones. Anyway, new guys, I hope you find something you enjoy. And want to stick around, and we'll see you again another day. Before we jump straight into the stitching, I want to do a little special segment. My daughter, my eldest daughter, 16, has been quilting for the last couple of years, and she's just decided that she's going to start to learn a bit about doing bags. So she made this wallet for me. It's got cork on the outside. You can see the metallic shine through there. Bit of silver hardware around like this, where the cards are already out. You can see that lovely fabric is one you may recognize from several videos ago. I had picked up that fabric intending to use it to line a project bag and then didn't, so she's used it to line my wallet. My driver's license. When you're not folding the heck out of the thing to show off the fabric, it slides quite nicely, but when you warp it, it's a bit tough. You can see the coin pocket is made with the same cork, the metallic, and coordinating zipper. So I thought she did a really nice job, and this was my birthday present, my birthday being middle of April. So I was pretty pleased with that. And I put it on Facebook to show it off to all my friends and family and whatnot, because I got such a cool birthday present. One of my old uni mates asked if Amber would make her one. Now, Amber's, 16. She does her best to, do it perfectly, but she is well aware that, compared to the experience of some, it's not perfect. She's still learning. So she's a bit hesitant about that idea. Honestly, I think they've come out great. I know where she made a mistake in this one, and I can't even tell now that it's assembled. So she was a bit hesitant about doing one for anybody else. But she went and she did the research. What materials would she need, etc. Where to source everything, how long she thought it would take her to make it, to fill the order, all that sort of jazz. And decided that, yes, she would make one for this friend of mine, and because, just because of the way the materials, sorry, I did double check that it was actually recording, just because of the way the cost of the materials worked out, she would buy the materials to make 3 more as well and attempt to sell them. Earn a bit of pocket money and, learning our entrepreneurial skills and all that crash hot stuff. So she has made and sent her commission piece. We're waiting to see if the recipient loves it. I'm hoping so. But she has 2 more finished at the moment that have a natural color cork. And it's not, you can see the shine. It's a gold metallic. And of course the gold fitting. So this one has a similar batik sort of print in very light earthy tones, grays, yellow, brown. I quite like this one. I think it's quite elegant. And again, the coin pocket is done in the same cork as the outside with the tan zipper. So she has this one, and she has, again with the gold cork, but this time with a pink, and it's a bit of a darker, deeper pink, but it's definitely that pink maroon sort of color scheme, and the coin pocket in the same pouch. So she is asking if anybody is interested in purchasing one of these. She is asking $80 Australian for one of the wallets plus postage. For the Yanks, I believe that equates to about 55 US dollars, although do your own conversion. Yes, if you have any interest in supporting Amber in her learning endeavors, this you can either leave me a comment below, or I will post my email address in the description box for you guys. I'm not going to post hers, but I will pass your email on to her. If you're not interested in buying one, but would care to support her anyway, and you want to mention it on your Flosstube channel and direct people here that have a look at them, she would very much appreciate that too. She is learning that sometimes the easiest part of this whole entrepreneurship is making the stuff. And so, you know, Mom wants to see her succeed and have some success, but she's learning a lot. So that in itself is a success as far as Mom is concerned. So, yeah, natural mottled pink. The third one that's not finished yet will have the black, and it's blues and purples on the inside again, but much lighter. Yeah, very, very light compared to that blues and purples. So those are the three she has. At this stage, it's a one-time deal. So if you're interested, send me an email, leave a comment, and I will direct your contact to Amber for her to practice her communication skills and sort out from there. So, sales pitch aside, what have I been doing? I've had a new start. I have. I think I said, sorry, I'm not organized. I've been busy dyeing fabric and not paying attention to what I should be organizing. No notes today, so we're just winging it. I told you guys I was planning on starting the Aura of Autumn. I will have to insert a picture of it here. And I already have my first page finish. I have started in the bottom left corner, so it's not super impressive, but it is a page. I think I started this about 2 weeks ago. I was fortunate enough that one of my local stitching mates has loaned me a couple of Q-snaps to test out and practice with. So I was stitching this in the Q-snap using various variations of parking, just to test out the whole parking thing and to see what I liked and what I didn't like. I have decided that Q-snaps are very, very slow. Clearly, I'm not enamored entirely with the whole parking. So with this page, I started going up in strict columns. And this whole, like, stop stitching because you hit a line on the grid and drop and thread another needle. Yeah, I don't have that much patience for this changing colors rubbish. So I had a short go at the diagonal parking that I've seen like Blitz Stitch do. That lasted even less time because there was something in that about not leaving any missed stitches. Like you could, I basically ended up threading needles even more, and so yeah, that didn't work. The upside to that is if you had the patience to do it, you basically are kind of guaranteed that you don't miss any stitches and have to go back and fix them later. When I finished this page, I had quite a few stitches that I still had to go back and fix. Yeah, it is what it is. It's just part of stitching. So in the end, I mostly ended up working up the entire page at a time. And so I'd pick a color, whichever was the lowest spot that I hadn't yet filled in, grab that color, and work up as far as I could get. When I got to the point where I was having to jump, sort of 3-4 more stitches, then I would park the thread and go back and do another one up. So generally had very fewer parked threads than you see in some examples, but I think it worked better for me. And clearly where the things went over the line and I had nowhere logical to go up, I just went out and used up that thread, because I'm not going to cut it off and start over down here. I'm already there. I'm going to finish it. But I suppose we'll just call that my feathering, so I don't get a nice long line where the page break is. Yeah, so I don't know that either the Q-snap or the parking was a terrible success, but the one advantage to the Q-snap is that I could stitch with my brace on, so when my wrist bothers me, I could continue to stitch. Normally, I'm naughty. I take the brace off. I stitch a thread. My wrist hurts so bad. I put the brace back on. Then I wander around going, I want to stitch. So I take the brace off and lie on my wrist. And I'm sure that's not very good. So this way, I stitched all morning that first morning with the brace on. And so this way I can continue to make progress on things even though my wrist is acting up. So I will probably go and buy myself a Q-snap now that I have come to that conclusion. I think I started with an 8x11, and then I reconfigured it all by myself to an 11x11. Got the fabric all refritted. So I think I will buy an 11x11 and just have the one that when I'm particularly when my wrist is sore, I can use that rather than, it basically is just forcing me to go up and down, which if left to my own devices, I will always use a sewing method, and that's so much on the wrist that it really riles it. So that is Aura of Autumn, starting from nothing. This is a 32 count even weave. Couldn't tell you the type. It is it's a printed, it's got a gray modeling on it. It's actually a really nice modeling. It's a kind of a shame that I'm putting a full coverage on it. You won't see half the modeling. But this is the first of 3 panels. I think this panel is about 30 some pages, 33-ish, a bit more maybe even. So yeah, 1 page a month. That'll take me 3 years to do. And that little bit I had wasn't quite a full page either. So there is that. The other thing I have been working on is the chatelaine. I should have been organized and taken this all out. So this didn't get as much progress this week as I was hoping. Sort of last weekend, Friday morning, I woke up with a sore throat, and it just went downhill from there. I put in a dozen stitches or so on the chatelaine at some point on Saturday, and had to turn around and rip them all out again. It's like, clearly, this is not the time to be working on the chatelaine. So focusing on this is the second of the koi ponds. The first one I did was up at the top. Yeah, so I finished both fish now. I think at least one of them was missing a tail, if not more. I have all the, well, there's a little bit missing right there, but most of the greenery around that koi pond done, and I'm starting to move out into the last lantern for this segment, and then it'll go back to bushes and trees and whatnot. So given that I didn't do a lot of time on it, I'm pretty pleased with how it's coming along. Those fish are so cool, but they are such a pain in the butt. Clearly I still have to backstitch them. And I don't know, I should just go ahead and do it, because I get to where I like dread doing it, and then I look at them and I'm dreading doing it, and I'm looking at them and I'm dreading doing it, and it kind of sucks the enjoyment out of all the rest of the things you're supposed to be doing. So I should just do them, and then I don't have to dread doing them. And the backstitch part doesn't take that long. I think the first set of fish took me about 3 hours per fish to do the 1/1. I didn't particularly measure this last set of fish. I presume it was about the same. So the only other thing I worked on in the last 2 weeks, and this is a finish. You may have seen on Instagram. I will insert an overall, a detailed video I took, so you can get closer pics, but, you know, that is the whole piece all together. So I will go ahead and insert that detailed view now. Just a quick video to get some up-close details of my latest finish. This is the Pattern of the Month series for last year, I think the end of last year, from Stony Creek. I am doing all 6 in the sort of banner style that they have in the back. But at this point, all the stitching is finished. I will have to finish it properly, fully finish it before Halloween comes along. I did buy that hanger to hang it on. So without further ado, that is what she looks like. This is stitched on 32 count Belfast printed Stormy Nights. I think the pattern actually called for vintage Stormy Nights, so I don't know if there's much difference or not. Yeah, the only change I made was this skull, and anywhere else the sort of sparkly thread shows up. That was originally called to be DMC Light Effects E940, which is their glow in the dark. Everything else is the same. The purple for the lettering here is a Weeks Dye Works. There's a green Weeks Dye Works that's not in this panel. And I think this gray/black is a Weeks Dye Works. And then the Colaris is around the bottom. So those are your unusual sort of threads that this one used. The rest of it's all straight DMC. And for future reference, if anybody's actually looking to do this, 1 skein of each of the Weeks Dye Works is more than sufficient. I bought 2, so now I have a full skein plus most of another skein left for some other thing. But they're really nice colors, so I'm not too worried about it. So that's the first panel. And like I said, I've stitched them all together. Apologies, I haven't ironed it yet because it will spend some time in storage before I get around to the finishing. So you can see we got a few more buttons in here. This one never wants to, I wish he'd just sit up that way. Little eye. And the witch. So I think this green has your fancy Weeks Dye Works in the lettering up here. More of the, I don't think I said I swapped out the glow in the dark for Kreinik 032, which if you're going to do Kreinik, you will need 3 rolls of Kreinik. I had the first roll on hand and I thought I'll just use it up, and yeah, I didn't have anywhere near enough. Had to buy 2 more rolls to finish the project. Not really what I intended. but yeah, it is what it is. So, yep, that's that panel. Toad's Breath Beyond the Pale. With this panel, there's supposed to be, like these buttons up here, there's a solid one and a hollow one. There's meant to be the same, a couple of solid ones up here, but the buttons I received were too deformed. The holes did not go all the way through. I decided just to omit them because, yeah, I didn't think it was that big a deal. Spider webs and bat wings. I'm getting a bit too far away. More of the Krynic. That's more of the Calaris in here. Little bat. I think he's a cute little button. And the moon and stars and scary dreams. So that is all the stitching on that piece done. If I have to see any more Krynic anytime soon after that moon, it will be too soon. A little bit more in the eyes. But that's all she wrote. This one's done. Hope you like that. Bye. All right. So that's everything I worked on. Things I have bought. Oh, I should say my stitch from stash. I meant to get the numbers because now April is over and I've done my April check-in. Let's just say it wasn't pretty. And because it wasn't pretty, I thought, bugger it. And I needed to figure out what fabric I wanted to do for Queen Sorry. So I was digging around. Should I do an order from one of the dyers in the US? What size fabric would I need? What colors do I think would go good? Yada, yada, yada. And I basically stumbled upon public service announcement for any Aussies who like to stitch on linen. They have, Spotlight has 28 count cash-out linen on clearance for $50 a meter, which I'm pretty sure at the Spotlight in town, last time I bought it there, it was closer to 90. And if you go to the clothing shop, it's even more. So I didn't think $50 was too bad. And I have promptly cut a bit of my 28 count linen and dyed it for what I hope will work for Queen Sorry, although I have yet to do a floss toss. What I've done, because I've been dyeing it this morning, so I think I'm going to string all the segments of the dyeing that I did into its own video and post it there, and I will do a floss toss as part of that and decide at that point whether or not it is going to be the Queen Sorry fabric or whether it is just going to be stash fabric. Spoiler alert, I'm quite happy with how it came out. I quite like it. I've yet to see whether it's the perfect one for Queen Sorry. We will see. So, in other things, I went out to the mailbox right after I filmed my last Flosstube, and I had new Silks for You showed up. So these were April Silk of the Month. And I gather from the email, they're all themed after sort of candy bars. So there's a lot of browns, but then there's like cool, like mints and oranges and purples, you know. I bet that one's the cherry ripe of the candy bar floss. So they're a bit more interesting variation schemes. No idea where I'll use them, but they're pretty cool. The other thing I bought, this was my birthday present to me. So I basically have been looking at some of these patterns that are simpler, that I can kind of grab colors from these Floss of the Month and whatnot, that I can have my own hand in color selection rather than I'm not going to change colors on the chatelaine too much. It's too complicated. There's too much that's got to match and look right and whatnot. So, but I feel like this, you know, I can pick a color to do the inner thing and the outer bits, and I can pick a different color to do, you know, those teardrop motifs, and, you know, just kind of, I feel this would be manageable to select my own color scheme for it. So I bought this one, and I have the shades of gold as well, which is a similar sort of idea. So not sure when I'll start either of these at the moment. I guess I'm just kind of waiting for one of these Floss of the Month things to show up and go, oh my God, it needs to be that. And when that happens, I'll start it. And I think that is it for everything I've got for today. So, relatively short video. However, you will see me in not very long, hopefully, with some fabulous fabric for Queen Sari. See you then. Thanks, Flosstube.